An Airbnb host tried to unalive me and my dad when we were on a skiing trip in Colorado. Here's the story. Okay, so my dad and I take a yearly skiing trip. We always go to Colorado and we go ski in Vail, and we always get an Airbnb because that's how we roll. I think just like with everybody else, there's always like this underlying fear in the back of your head, like what if something were to happen? I always feel the same way, like in an Uber too. Like, are you ever really sure who you're renting this home from, and is it actually secure, or can they just break in the middle of the night and do something crazy? So this specific Airbnb that we stayed at was like the basement of a home in Colorado, and we rented it from this really nice older woman who we met when we got there. So we got to the Airbnb, we met her, and she let us know that she would not be staying in the home while we were there for the weekend, but that she had a roommate and that he worked a lot and that he would come in late at night and go to sleep in his room upstairs, and that we would have the entire basement to ourselves and we wouldn't be bothered. So we go to sleep on the first night, we have no issues. We wake up the next day, we go skiing, and then we come back for the evening. I took the bed that was closest to the stairs, and my dad was in a room that was like on the other side of the basement, kind of like farther away from the door to the upstairs. Okay, so I go to sleep on the second night and I'm starting to kind of drift off, and then all of a sudden I hear this guy upstairs and he's talking to someone, and they're like yelling back and forth, and this conversation is getting pretty heated. I couldn't exactly hear what they were saying at first, but as they came into the room, I realized quickly that the room that he was staying in was right above the room that I was sleeping in. And I started to hear that the one guy was yelling at him that he was like such a screw up and that he could never do anything right, and they were cussing and all of these things. And then the guy that I assumed lived there started to respond and say that he knows and that he might as well just off himself, and they continued to go back and forth until I started to notice that the voices that I was listening to talk back and forth were actually the same voice, but the guy was just changing the way that his voice sounded and the inflection in his voice as he was talking to himself and then responding back to himself. So I got freaked out, but eventually like he kind of stopped doing this and it got quiet, and I assumed he went to sleep, and so I nodded off and I went to bed. Next night, come home, drifting off to sleep. He comes home, I hear him enter the house, and the same thing starts over, but this time it's like even worse. He starts to throw things, stomp on things, and he's yelling to and from himself to himself, back to himself, and it's just this very like angry, negative self-talk, and then him responding saying that he was going to do something homicidal that night. And he started to knock and bang on the ceiling of my room. So the floor of his room that he was in and the ceiling of my room, he started to scratch at it, and he would knock on it and he would stomp around on it. He knew that we were down there. At that point, I hear him start to run down the stairs, and he would like run down the stairs and stomp, and then he would stomp and go back up the stairs. And so I get up out of the bed and I go out of my room and I stand at the bottom of the basement stairwell, and I'm looking up at the door that's at the very top, and he's running down the stairs, and then he would come and he would stand right in front of the doorway to the basement, the entrance to the basement. I stand there for a little bit and I can see like the shadows of his feet, and when he runs down the stairs, he gets really quiet, and he would like creep up to the door and stand there, and just the shadows of his feet would be below like the door in the crack, until he started to jiggle on the door handle and stick his fingers through the bottom of the door and jiggle on the door handle. Then he would run upstairs and like throw things around, and then run down the stairs again and come and start jiggling on the door handle and trying to move the door. So I went and I got my dad and I woke him up and I was like, hey, the guy that lives upstairs is probably having some sort of mental episode and he is trying to currently break into the basement. What do we do? So my dad wakes up and he comes out and he's like, what's happening? He comes out and we're quiet and we're listening, and this guy is yelling upstairs, yelling at himself, running down the stairs, trying to open the door. So we immediately realized that this man is not in his right mind, and that who knows what's going to happen if he actually is able to figure out how to open the door and get into the room. We tried to contact the Airbnb host and we were not able to get a hold of her. It was too late in the night. So my dad grabs a knife out of the kitchen and I grab a knife out of the kitchen, and we had to escape through the window of the Airbnb basement. So we had to escape through the window and then crawl up this hill and crawl around to the back of the front of the house and call the cops. The cops came, they opened the door, we were able to get in and get all of our stuff and pack and leave. And when we talked to the Airbnb host and asked her what is going on with this guy and told her that he was losing his mind and trying to enter the room and was talking homicidally and suicidally to himself, she said that she had never had issues with this guy, that he's a young, really nice young Christian man who works for a delivery service in the town that they live in and is a Christian missionary on the side, and he was saving up money to become a Christian missionary. We were not able to get the cops. There was no warrant on the house or anything like that, so they couldn't go in and actually confront him because it wasn't, by that time they had gotten there, he had gone upstairs and put himself away in his room. So nothing came of it, but we had to escape an Airbnb. And I will tell you right now that while I have not learned my lesson and I have stayed in Airbnbs since, never again will I be locked in a basement of someone's house while they are home.
Girl, what happened? It's some things that host does not know about that man. That's usually the case with older women. They bring in people. Y'all remember that story, the Netflix series about the older women, that one older woman who was taking in people and unaliving them. But it was some of the other story was the older woman, especially the one where she had the roommate, and then she also had the gay guy roommate that looked like the guy from the Horror Story. Yeah, American Horror Story. Yeah, she got unalived by the guy. I feel like they don't know who they bring into their house. They just know that the retirement isn't enough and they gotta pay for this mortgage. I wouldn't anytime I pick Airbnbs, it's the entire house. It has a button, an option you can pick the entire house. I'm not gonna I'm gonna be in somebody's backyard while they're in the main house. No, I'm not gonna do that. You see me? You see me? I'm not gonna do that. This is not gonna be a get out episode, bro. So yeah, kudos to you. I feel like I don't know what I would have done in that situation. I would be like, yo, bro, you need to calm down. But like she said, you don't really know who you're dealing with. You don't know this person. This is his house. He might know other ways. He could have literally been having a moment. And that's crazy that the host did not know that no, it's not crazy. That's very believable. If you're going to move somebody in your house, especially a stranger, please do a background check on them, a mental check on them. Be aware. That could have been a liability for her if he would have got through. What was he doing? Well, he was having a moment. He was having an episode. But yeah. Friends, be careful in these streets, especially in Airbnbs. You don't know these people. I'm assuming that you're in the mountains or something. You're going skiing. You have to be in the mountains, I'm assuming. So yeah, friend, be safe. Because I would not have climbed out that window. In my head, it's me or you. And I got my daughter here, especially if I was a dad. Oh no, it's you. It's you. It's not me. It's you. So yeah, friend, I'm glad y'all got weapons and y'all got out of that situation, because that could have been bad. Cause it's like sometimes I'd be like, money or safety, money or safety. So yeah, I'm glad y'all picked the safe route.
So let's chat for a moment, because my house is haunted, and the other night the creepiest thing happened, and I'm actually sitting in my car right now so my baby can take a nap. She's in the back seat. I am letting her sleep, because it just happened again and I'm completely shook. If you follow me, you know that I talk a lot about my haunted house. If you don't follow me, that's what I talk about. So I have an 8-month-old. She's almost 9 months old. We have been experiencing way more paranormal activity ever since my daughter was born. We bought our home in 2020, and that's when we realized something is up here. But ever since having my daughter, everything has hit the fan. So the other night, I am rocking my baby to sleep. It is bedtime, a very calm time for us. Her sound machine is playing, the blackout curtains, if you're a mom, you know, door shut. My husband is outside, and he's hanging out outside, because when she goes to sleep, since it's been nice out, we've been sitting outside in the patio. So he's outside, and so he texts me and he's like, hey, I'm running to 7-Eleven. I'm gonna go grab some pop. I was like, okay, cool. My baby falls asleep. I put her in the crib, and literally, like, so you know when the door is shut and you can like see if someone's walking because like you can see their shadow like under the door. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's what happened. And I heard footsteps and I saw like walking outside the door, and I was like, oh, maybe my husband forgot his wallet or something. So I opened the door and there's like no one there. So I'm like, oh, okay, cool, he probably went outside. So I literally look out my window, his car is not here. I check his location, he's at 7-Eleven. So I'm like, okay, cool, that's weird. So I literally sat on the patio with the baby monitor until he got home, because I was like, you're not gonna believe this. So I have the day off today. I didn't have anyone to watch my baby, so I have to be home with her. So I'm trying to get her to fall asleep for her morning nap this morning, have the door shut, all the things, right? This same exact thing happened. My husband's at work. Like, he left 3 hours ago for work. The same exact thing. Door shut, I see a shadow, and I hear footsteps. And I'm like, oh, hell no. So I open the door, no one's there. My baby won't fall asleep, so we get in the car. We drive to Scooters. She falls asleep. So now I'm sitting here, and I'm like, all right, kind of scared to go back inside.
Girl, playing games. She's like, you know what I'm talking about? The shadows under the door. Girl, we just heard a story. That was real life. Like, that was the real life. You telling us the paranormal. Girl, nah, forget that. Forget that right now, because what we not gonna do is leave my baby when I just saw that. That's funny. That is hilarious. I'm not a mom, so I can't speak on it, but I'm a child, so I can speak on that. That's what I'm not going to do. Hell no. She was just like, oh, we just had a new baby, and all of suddenly the paranormal got intense. Girl, have you ever seen Insidious? Have you ever seen any scary movie? Have you ever heard any scary story involving a baby? Girl, the innocence, girl. Even though you got a girl, she's still innocent. Like, what? No, stop it. You need to protect that baby. What I would have done, because I'm not a mother, I just like to assume what I would do. I like to assume that I would be a great mom. I would like to assume that. Go with me down this journey of motherhood. What I would have done is, the first time I would be like, okay, I would have did what she did, but not leave my baby. I would be like, okay, maybe it was my husband getting his wallet. Okay, looking outside. He ain't outside. Okay. See his location. He at 7-Eleven. Okay, bet. Discounted like I did with the microwave. Okay, that was weird. Clocked it. Okay. Second time it happened, because the first time I might not have done anything. I might not have. I would have been like, you know. But the second time, we're clocking it. And it's just like, okay, bet. We're fighting now. You need to get up out my house. I don't know who you are. Don't want to know who you are. All I know is you ain't touching this. None of us. Like, you needs to go. This ain't your house. You need to go. That would be me. As a mother. You enjoyed that journey? Yeah, it was great, wasn't it? Because I would be fighting and laying hands, throwing holy water. That shadow would have slipped on the holy water and just been like, I'm melting. Because you're not coming for mines. That's hilarious. That is hilarious, bro. But nah, friend. I'm glad you're okay. I'm glad you're in the car. But what we need to do while you're in the car, go ahead and drive to the priest, pick him up, and take them back to your house and bless everything. Everybody who's in the church with the priest, because you know the priest be rolling deep. Get everybody in the church, bring them to your house and bless that house, because we are not playing these games. This is 2025. We know what these things are, and they need to go. They don't need to be in our house. Like, no, you stay out there, nowhere near me, okay? Nowhere near us. No, stop it. Girl, bye.
So I recently came across a story on here that has literally kept me up at night. As it turns out, there are scarier things out there than what I typically talk about. If I can find the original person who posted it, I'll tag them down below, but this is how the story goes. There was a family that had recently moved into an apartment complex. It was a mom, a dad, and a son. I believe the son was about 10 years old. Soon after they moved into the apartment complex, they noticed that their downstairs neighbor must have been having some sort of party, because there was loud music that was playing. They didn't really think anything of it until the downstairs neighbor, went to their door and knocked and said, "Hi, my name is so-and-so. I live downstairs. I'm actually having a party for my son, who happens to be around your son's age. You guys are welcome to come and join us." The mom agreed and said, "Of course, yeah, once we're done up here, I'll go downstairs and we'll spend some time with you guys." And that was kind of the end of it. As time went on, like the mom continued doing whatever she was doing upstairs. She lost track of time. So the neighbor came upstairs and knocked a second time and said, hey, I really don't want your son to miss out on the party. We have a lot of activities. We have food, a lot of games. Like, if you're still holed up or doing whatever it is that you're doing, I can bring your son downstairs so he can enjoy the party. You can just meet him. Again, the mom, not really thinking much of it, said, yeah, okay, that's fine. You're right downstairs. I already know you. You're my neighbor. Yeah, you can take my son and I'll just meet him downstairs later. The neighbor took the son downstairs and the mom stayed upstairs. At this point, her husband wasn't home yet, so she was waiting for her husband to get home to then like meet her son downstairs. Once her husband got home, he said, hey, where's my son? And the mom goes, oh, he's actually downstairs. The neighbor was having a party. She introduced herself and I let him go. So they decided to go downstairs and knock on the door. When they knocked on the door, nobody answered. Now, the whole time they could still hear music playing like loudly, but no one was answering the door. It got to the point where they became concerned because they were there for a minute, like knocking and knocking and knocking, and no one would come to the door. So they decided to call the cops. When the cops showed up, they broke the door down, and when they walked in, the apartment was completely empty. There was no sign of anyone ever living there. They, of course, still wanted to know where their son was, so they went and searched the apartment, and when they went in the bathroom, they found their son. He had been dismembered. They actually had taken all of his organs out. So yeah, that story has pretty much stayed rent-free in my head since I heard it. It's just terrifying that even when you feel like you're in a comfortable place, you're never comfortable and you can never let your guard down.
I would like to say I didn't know what was going to happen next, but there was mistakes. Mistakes were made, bruh. Mistakes were made. Because first of all, how you know how old my son is? We literally just got here. This is day one. We're unpacking. Like, this is the first week, bruh. How do you know? Like, I think she said it was. I don't know. I was listening. I think she said it was a woman that came knocking on the door. But when she first told the story, it made me think it was a man. Like, I thought she said it was a man, and then she said her, but maybe she said him. I don't know. Comment below. But friend, that was the first when they came up. Okay. You say that you know how old my kid is, but okay, I'm gonna discount that because you might have seen them in the moving other boxes because we're upstairs. Got it, cool. Second part, when you come back, no, why are you that thirsty? Your kid don't have no friends? Like, is that what that is? Like, what is that? No, I don't like that at all. The second time you came back to my door is when the red flags, the alerts would have went up. Me again, we're going through this journey of motherhood. Come with me. We're gonna skip down the road. This is what I would think as a mother. I'm not a mother, but I feel like this would be my mindset. All my mothers comment in the comments. Get down in the comment section and let me know how you would be thinking. Would that just set off alarm bells like, a second time? Wait, what? And then when they were like, oh, yeah, you seem a little busy. Let me just break him down. First of all, stranger danger. Were you not taught that? Like, did they take that away from the schools? When I was in school, they literally taught stranger danger and no, don't touch me there. That is my no-no square. Like, all these things that they taught us to be safe. Like, we had like these little ID cards that we would get. Well, I think we only got it in kindergarten, first grade, but they were trying hard to make sure we didn't get kidnapped. So I'm just confused. Oh, her thought process is like, yeah, I'm gonna let my son go downstairs with a stranger who had enough time, who had so much concern that my kid would feel left out with strangers. He don't even know them. He ain't gonna feel left out on anything he don't know. You know, girl, she thought it was okay to let her son go downstairs with a grown-ass person. A grown-ass stranger. She thought it was okay. Okay, bet. And then forgot he was down there. First of all, I'm not going to let my son go anywhere with anyone I don't know. And if it's somewhere I've never been myself, oh, no. Because I feel like I would be the type of mom that would be too much. I would be too much. Be like, what's the layout of the place? Like, how I am now with myself. I be like, yo, before I go somewhere, I be trying to look at the blueprints. Like, what's the fire escape place? How many exit doors they got? Where's their fire extinguishers? Like, that's how I think as an adult. Imagine if I was responsible for a little me, bruh. I would be anal, bruh. I would be too much. I'd be way too much. Like, I don't know. I would be suffocating probably as a parent, because I would be like, no, it's a dangerous one. And that's why I don't want to have kids, because I already know how the world is. So why would I bring an innocent human being in? Like, the reason why I don't have kids is the reason why a lot of people have kids. I am selfish. I am selfish. So why am I going to have a kid? For a selfish reason. Give me an unselfish reason to have a kid. So no, friend, I would have did that. Yes, I hate that I hate that it had to happen. Because I knew it was, I was like, what kind of party they having? Like, I thought it was going to be something else, but either all the thoughts that I thought were bad and this was bad. So please protect your kids. Think about things. You know, install the little things. Like, I feel like as a parent, like, we going back down that journey of motherhood, I don't have a chip inside my kid. Sorry, not sorry. Sorry, not sorry. Because I need to know, honey. I don't know if I'm like how my mom is. My mom has this relationship with God where when I was younger, she always knew where I was. Even if I didn't tell her. She knew where I was because God told her where I was. So, yeah. Chip in my kid. Or me and God gotta be like, all right now, God. You know, I need to know where they at today. Where they at? You know, like, I would be low-key overbearing. But let me know how y'all think about that. Like this video, follow all the creators, and subscribe.